I came across some old videos online, and they made me want to revisit the 2004 Royal Falcons and the season that they had. I couldn't get a team picture. Like, I contacted a lot of people since it was over 20 years ago. Like, no one had a picture. I know where I can get a picture, but I'm not going to go down that route to get the picture. But this is the one picture that I did have. It was during the parade before, like, the playoffs started, I think, where the players went around Brookshire and the crowd was... This is after the season that they had. And, like, all the players were on the... I forgot what the parade was for. But, like, all the players were on the trailer, the players and the coaches, riding through the city of Brookshire. So, this is the Royal Falcons. Some people say Brookshire Royal Falcons, even though technically Royal is not in Brookshire anymore. Like, the high school isn't in Brookshire. A long time ago, the elementary school and the intermediate school used to be in Brookshire, but technically it's in Patterson now. So, but you never hear Patterson Royal Falcons. You always hear Brookshire Royal Falcons. So, because I couldn't get a copy of the team photo, I'm going off of memory, and this was based off of memory. This who was on the team during that time in that 2004 season. So it may be some names that I missed because, like I said, everybody that was on that float was on the team, but some people weren't on the float. So I may be missing some names on the list, but for the most part, I feel like I got at least like 95% of the roster on this list. You had Gabriel Allen, Miguel Arriaga, Mike Avendano, Adrian Busby, Jacob Carter, Sharon Connor, Kobe Cornett, Leslie Dilworth, Juan Dominguez, Joshua Duvall, Daniel Emerson, Burrow Gassner, Michael Gillespie, Daniel Glover, Jacob Gonzalez, Lance Hartman, Chris Hernandez, J.D. Jeans, Long Lee, Chad Matthews, Joshua Payne, Cedric Paul, Sergio Rangel, Matt Sacco, Juan Sanchez, Courtney Thomas, Ricky Shepard, Mike Stamps, Adrian Taylor, Bradford Taylor, Brian Turner, Seraphin Vinces, Tony Willis, Torian Wilkins, Matt Woodard, Carlos Zuniga, Javier Zuniga, and Blake Woods. Now, so like I said, there's some people that I may have missed because I don't have the team photo to verify it. But for the most part, I feel like I at least got like 95% of the people that were on that team. This was pretty much the depth chart of that team. Starting quarterback Cedric Powell. So the 2004 Falcons, they ran a formation where they actually had 4 people in the backfield. So you had the quarterback, the fullback, and the running back. But you also had something that they called the Falcon back. That was right behind the quarterback in front of the fullback. So you had the quarterback, the Falcon back, the fullback, and then the running back. They ran mostly out of a one receiver set with a tight end in the game. Being that this is 21 years ago, at that time, football wise, it was still old school smash mouth football where it wasn't really a lot of like passing going on. So Royal mainly ran the ball. They didn't really pass it a lot. So that's why it was a bigger formation. That's why they had the Falcon back in there with the fullback. But anyway, this is the depth chart. Quarterback Cedric Powell. Brian Turner was the Falcon back. Jacob Carter was the starting fullback. Torian Wilkins and Daniel Emerson were the main 2 running backs that would like alternate. But Torian Wilkins was a starter. Carlos Zuniga was a starting tight end. Mike Stamps and Matt Woodard would alternate at receiver. The offensive line, other than center and left tackle and right tackle, I'm not sure if I got the guards correct. I don't remember if Jacob Gonzalez was on the right or if Josh Duval was on the left. I don't know if they were switched, but I'm pretty sure that was the formation. That was the depth chart for the offensive line. Now, the defensive side, the secondary was Mike Stamps, Torian Wilkins, Jacob Cardiff, and Daniel Emerson in the secondary. The linebackers were Long Lee, middle linebacker, Lance Hartman, and Juan Dominguez. The defensive line, I know the defensive ends were Matt Sacco and Seraphin Vincent. Now, the defensive tackles, I know Josh Duval was one of the defensive tackles. I don't remember if I think Carlos Zuniga was the other starting tackle, defensive tackle, and Javier and like Jacob Gonzalez would alternate and switch out. Juan Sanchez was the kicker. Sergio Rangel was his backup. This was one of my favorite formations. It was a double tight end with a tackle over formation called red and white, where you would bring another tight end in and the left tackle would move to the right side. So you took the receiver out. Now you got two tight ends and the left tackle's on the right side. So you had both LeBradford Taylor and Carlos Zuniga in there tight end, and they move Matt Sacco over to the right by J.D. Jeans as a tackle. But again, they didn't really throw the ball a lot, so that was more of a heavy formation to run the ball in. So speaking of running, this is how the Falcon backfield. Again, I don't have they didn't do a good job back then of putting the stats in like max prep. So this is based off like newspaper articles from Houston Chronicle from 20 years ago. I was able to find like the total season rushing yards. I didn't get the touchdowns or like the carries, but I got the rushing yards for the season. Well, the game before the last game of the season. So these were the stats before the Falcons took the field to play Newton. Cedric Powell, I didn't even realize that Cedric Powell had rushed for 1,600 yards as the damn quarterback that year. I didn't even realize that. Torian Wilkins got most of the carries. He had 1,900 yards, 1,952. I'm pretty sure he would have, if he didn't have to split with DJ, he probably would have had over 2,000. But I'm surprised DJ didn't get 1,000 as much as DJ used to break tackles and break for like long touchdown runs. DJ ended up with 854 yards. I'm surprised that Jacob Cardiff had as many yards as he did. I didn't figure he would have 1,000 rushing yards as the fullback. And then Adrian Taylor had 332 yards. So that was basically the stats before the Newton game. So after the Newton game, the stats probably went up higher. But as right now, before the Newton game, that's what the stats were. So let's jump into the season. The Falcons started off by going to Hempstead to play the Bobcats and won 60-6, starting out the 2004 season. After they played Hempstead, they came home to play the Cold Spring Trojans, and they beat them 47-0 to go 2-0. Then homecoming, after the bye week, they played Cypress Christian Warriors, beat them 61-0, moving to 3-0 in the season. Then they went to Tidehaven to play the Tigers, beat them 54-13 to move to 4-0. Then they played Stafford, beating them 28-12. Stafford was a higher rank than them, like A-wise. Royal was 2A and Stafford was 3A, but they beat them 28-12. Then they went to Danbury to beat Danbury 55-7 to move to 6-0. After Danbury, they went on to play East Bernard at home, beating them 34-0, moving to 7-0 in the season. After East Bernard, they went to Wallace and played Brazos and beat them 46-14 to move to 8-0 in the season. Then against their rival, the Hitchcock Bulldogs, in Hitchcock. They beat them 35-24. Okay, before I move on, let me say this about Hitchcock. Back then, Hitchcock had a set of brothers. One was the quarterback and one was the running back. Both of them were like those dudes were dogs. But the younger brother, because the quarterback graduated before him, the younger brother, the quarterback name was Marcus Lowe, and the running back's name was a little short dude named Marquise Lowe. They called him Kiki Lowe. This dude was a handful. Like, he was short, fast, strong. Kiki Lowe was a problem. So when Marcus Lowe graduated, the next year they ran everything through Kiki Lowe. They let him be the quarterback and everything, I think, the next year. But yeah, Hitchcock was a problem where Marcus Lowe and Kiki Lowe were in the backfield. Another thing about Hitchcock, I think Michael Sam, the one that came out as gay in the NFL, Michael Sam may have been on this Hitchcock team as well, because he played for Hitchcock. And I think it was around this time. So I don't know if he was on this team or like the team in like the next year or the next year after that. But Michael Sam may have been on that 2004 Hitchcock team. Yeah, I just looked it up. Michael Sam would have been a freshman that year. And it said he had started traveling with the varsity team when he was in 8th grade. So he may have made varsity as a freshman. So Michael Sam may have been on that 2004 Hitchcock team. I don't know. And to finish off the season, they beat the Bowling Bulldogs 63-16 to move to 10-0 on the regular season before they start the playoffs. In the playoffs, they played Little River Academy, beating them 35-20. Then at the Little River Academy, they went to Rhodes Stadium in Katy, Texas to play Navarro Panthers, beating them 55-6. Navarro had no reason to be in the playoffs anyway. They finished like 5-7. So obviously they won enough district games to make the playoffs, but they did not deserve to be in the playoffs. And then after Navarro, once again in Rose Stadium, they end up playing the Van Vleck Leopards, beating them 67-15, moving to 13-0 on the season. Then, unfortunately, in the Astrodome in 2004, they played the Newton Eagles. And this how crazy. Okay, so in that game, the Falcons got the ball first. Cedric Powell broke 50 yards on like the second play of the game for a touchdown. Then the kicker missed, Juan Sanchez missed the extra point, I think. But the Falcons never scored again until Adrian Taylor scored in the fourth quarter. By then, the game was already out of hand. But there was the player on Newton's team. His name was Todrick Penland, I think. In that game, he ran for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. This dude was killing Royal. Like, it was nothing Royal could do to stop. I think he ended up going to McNeese. He ended up in their Hall of Fame, McNeese Hall of Fame. But this dude was killing Royal in that Newton game, that semifinal game. But Newton ended up going to that was the game before state. The semifinals, that was the game before state. Newton won that game against the Falcons, but then they went to state and they lost to a team called Boyd. Boyd beat Newton, but Boyd was out there throwing the ball on Newton. See, the Falcons were used to being faster than everybody. But when they came up on Newton, they finally came face to face with somebody who was faster than them. Because Newton was definitely faster than the Falcons. Like, the linemen were out there moving. That's how much faster they were than the Falcons. I'm going to show some highlights from that game just to show you exactly what I'm talking about, what happened in that game. Here are the highlights. That last touchdown run right there, that was Todrick Penland. So yeah, Newton beat the Falcons in the semifinals, then went on to the state finals to play Boyd. They lost to Boyd 17-14, but Newton did come back the next year in 2005 and win state versus Argyle 28-0. And as for the Falcons, the 2005 Falcons, they finished 9-1 in the regular season. They lost the very first game of the season against the Hempstead Bobcats 20-14. The starting quarterback, tight end, and safety all twisted their ankles in that game. And they won their first playoff game against Salado because Salado basically ran out of time at the end of the game before they could get their last playoff to try to score, and the Falcons won. But then the Falcons lost the second round against Comfort on some miscues on both the offensive side and the defensive side at the very end of the game. It was a blow, like the safety got hurt and they put a freshman in. It was a blown coverage, and Comfort's wide receiver was down the field by himself. Nobody within like 30 yards of him. The quarterback saw him down there. Everybody on Comfort's sideline, the fans, they stood up. Nobody knew what was going on until they saw the dude down there, the receiver all the way down the field by himself. The quarterback threw it. He walked into the end zone. And then when the Falcons did get the ball back with like a minute left in the game, the offensive coordinator decided to throw a trick play in. Now, this is how crazy this was. The offensive coordinator called the trick play. The head coach, who was a defensive-minded coach, he told him, I don't think that's going to work, coach. But the offensive coordinator was like, no, coach, it's going to work, it's going to work. So what the play was supposed to be, it was supposed to be like a bounce pass lateral type play. They had practiced it in a week. They thought it was going to work. So what they did was, it was supposed to be a lateral where the quarterback throws it backwards, but it hits the ground, and it's supposed to make the defense think, oh, it's a dead ball. But because it's backwards, it's really still live. You're trying to catch the defense off guard, thinking they're going to stop. But when the quarterback threw it, the defense didn't stop. They jumped on the ball immediately. And that's how the Royal Falcons ended their 2005 season on a trick play. And apparently, this is what I was told, the starting cornerback received a call from somebody high up in the school. I'm not going to say who, but supposedly he told the player to put that stupid ass coach on the phone and let me talk to it. I'm not going to say who it was or what their position in the school was, but that's what I was told. But yeah, so that's pretty much recaps what happened with the 2004 Royal Falcons. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like and comment. More videos coming soon. Trey T out. Peace.